What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beers And. Today, we're going to be talking about beers and money. Money, 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 money. Money. I can't go that high.
I don't know if I did. I kind of blacked out a little, I'll be honest.
Welcome in, everyone. What's up and how are you? My name is Alex, and to my right, my buddy Nick.
Hi, Alex.
What's going on, homie?
Oh, just enjoying another fun Thursday.
Yeah, we in another location.
Oh,
again.
Yeah. I was thinking about it.
Very mobile.
I was thinking about it as I was setting up the camera, which eventually, folks, you're gonna see so much. You're gonna see our face all through summer, fall, and winter by the time. But
and then you're gonna be wishing you hadn't.
Yeah. Well, come on. But I did realize, I was like, this is our third location in
3 recordings.
3 recordings? Yeah, or
like
we've
that.
had 4 different locations in 4 weeks or something along those lines.
We're doing great.
We're doing a great job.
Hey, life throws things at you.
And if you're not ready, you gotta take one right in the kisser.
Yep, and get back up.
And get back up.
I am super hyped to have our beer today.
I'm always excited for a beer.
Always.
I finished up with work, and I guess maybe my last class wrapped up around like 1-ish. I kind of sat in my office for like 45 minutes. I was like, what should I do? And then I was like, you're going to go have a beer. Go home. Take a nap, and then go ahead and start driving on up. And I realized that no matter what, I have one of the greatest lives that there is.
That's true now.
I am aware of it. I acknowledge it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're doing fun things all the time.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be drinking from Source. Love getting stuff from Source.
What was the last one we've had from Source? It's been a while now.
Oh, I can't even remember.
Neither can I.
This actually might be our first Source beer.
So I like that I asked, what was the last one we had? You said, I don't know, but went with me on this adventure of maybe we did have one.
Yeah, I had to think about it. We've had quite a few.
We should go rob a liquor store because I guarantee that neither one of us would rat on the other one.
And this will be the last time you've ever seen the crew of Beers And.
Well, and they'd actually see our faces probably too on the grainy CCTV.
Hey, you know what they say? All publicity is good publicity.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach.
So Source cooked up this really interesting Milkshake IPA. It's a triple Milkshake IPA. It actually kind of scares me. It's 11%.
Ooh, doggy.
So tipping the scales a little bit. It's conditioned on pomegranate, fig, Cab Sav grapes, vanilla, and milk sugar.
Ooh, that's like a real like white lady who studied abroad in the Southern Mediterranean beer.
Okay,
I like that.
It's called Happy New Year.
Oh,
this was actually brewed for the New Year, brewed to celebrate the changing of the guard 2021 to 2022.
Nice. And wasn't it just earlier this week was the Lunar New Year as well?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
We are now in the year of the tiger.
Oh, fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, that's actually a strong year.
Yeah, I hope so.
I like that.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, let's keep it up, Tiger.
Oh, I don't know. Copyright infringement or whatever.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What song was that? I don't even know.
I was about to answer too, like a jackass. Okay, doing a great job on Thursday evening.
That's okay. Let's get into the question before we crack the beer. This one was kind of just like for the show. I want to know, because I think we're desensitized to it at this point as a populace. What do you consider a lot of money? Like if somebody said they would give you a sum of money to help pay off your debts or to start a new business venture, like what's a lot to you?
To me, like if someone was to go ahead and give me
like one lump sum,
honestly, like if someone turned around to me and said to me, here's like $100,000, like that to me is I can do a lot with $100,000.
You want to know what's funny is that was my answer.
Was it really?
6 figures. Once you touch that.
Yeah.
I think that you're encroaching on like a nice amount of money to go do something with.
Yes. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't think we were both going to have the same.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Yeah. Huh.
When I first asked myself the question, I was like, 5 million. But I was like, wait a second.
I think that's because even in my head at first, I was like, ooh, $500,000. And I was like, $500,000? I was like, okay, what's realistically would I get like stoked about and I could look forward to then doing something with, $100,000. Absolutely. Ooh, my goodness.
Almost took your head off.
Took my head off on that one.
Speaking of people getting their heads almost taken off.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell the people what happened to what?
I had an incredibly interesting day today. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, we were originally supposed to go ahead and start recording probably about an hour and a half from now because Alex was going to be at work all day.
And then Alex went to work today. So I show up at work today. You know, I told you guys I work at a warehouse. I manage a warehouse. And in our warehouse, there's a metal roll-up door. You know, pull the chain, whole 9 yards. And I'm pulling the chain, cranking up the door, you know, getting ready for the guys to come in for the day. And I hear a sound from above me. And when I look, I have just enough time to dodge out of the way of this like 30-pound metal piece that came flying off of this unit right at my head. And, you know, I'm okay because I'm here. But it involved a trip to the ER.
We're using, you know, my phone to record, but I was...
Oh, yeah, if you can see my head right now, my goodness.
But I was explaining to Alex that when, for one thing, and I never thank you for this, you leave messages. You're a message leaver.
I am.
And I don't hate them because they always start with, hey, man, you don't need to call me back.
That's also true.
Gets right into the business. But usually I'll get then a transcript of the message also. So I leave my office. I go and I see that I've got a call. I go and I start to read the transcript and it just says, hey, bro, I don't forget at the ER, metal head, I'm okay. And I was like, what in the shit
it was crazy.
has happened to you?
It was crazy, man. And you know, like weird stuff always happens to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know this just from being friends with me. Like the time I had an almond stuck in my chest. I don't know if we told everyone about that.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Did we? Yeah,
that was again. That was one of the more recent ones too.
That was that's only in like 3 or 4 months ago.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, good times. I did not sniff the beer yet. Yeah, I'll never forget.
Oh God,
I'm getting more. Wow, I can't believe I'm going to say this. It smells like a Galaxy IPA.
It does, and it's because of that fruitier sort of a smell.
That super
that pomegranate
berry. Yep,
yeah,
that super berry, and that makes sense. Oh, so the fig, the pomegranate, the grapes. Oh man, but it smells mellow.
I'm wondering if that's how the vanilla is going to function because I was expecting to smell a little bit more of that, and I haven't.
Yeah, same. Now the more I smell it, I just smell alcohol.
Oh,
so cheers.
Cheers. Sounds fine by me.
Okay. That drinks like a barley wine.
Is that what I'm
I don't know.
There's something
I don't know if you're familiar with that style.
I don't know if I am either, but there is something very familiar.
Let me use the power of the internet and just really, really quickly give you the exact definition of barley wine so I don't have to party foul this next week.
Thinking ahead. I like that. Only takes a crack on the skull to go ahead and start.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe the hit on the head actually did me some good. So, this one's only about the Sierra Nevada one. I just want to know what a barley wine is.
I do. It should be right on the left-hand side, right-hand side.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay, there we go.
The first beer to be marketed as a barley wine was Bass number 1.
Oh.
We've had Bass. I don't know if we've ever had number 1.
No, neither have
I. Okay, here we go. And this is why I equated it to it so quickly, is usually they're very, very high percentage. This says anywhere between 6 to 12.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm going to talk about gravities. I don't know what that means. The word wine is only used to describe its alcoholic strength, similar to wine. But usually it's a very malty forward beer. And that's what I'm getting here. But not from the malts.
I think it's going to be from the use or the flavoring with the Cabernet grapes. I wonder if that's why you might be getting it from a little bit. I think you're right.
That winey sweetness.
The vanilla does come through once you get that full sip.
It's really strange because the vanilla comes through on the back, but also right in the middle, in between like the grape and the fig, or the fig and the pomegranate. I can't figure it out yet.
And that's what's kind of interesting is because the smell is more, like you said, berry and I would have expected more pomegranate, but the flavor does not reflect that. And I like it
Definitely.
for that reason. I like it for that reason.
It's also, like, I feel like whenever we have this much fruit in a beer, it's not an IPA. Normally, it's like a sour. So we're still getting that IPA backbone, I guess, if you will.
It's a really robust,
It's so rich.
That's the term.
It's so rich.
No,
you're right.
term.
Robust. I would use that too.
But it's not. It's right in that sweet spot between. It's a little bit lighter in terms of like mouthfeel than a stout.
Yeah, definitely.
But a little bit more than a porter, I think.
Yeah, it's from the milk.
Yeah,
the milk sugar.
This is really really nice.
You know what I think it is? This is, and I think I'm going to use the right word. I think of the Gestalt Principle. The sum of the parts.
Oh.
Or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
For this beer. Did I use the right one?
Yeah, that does sound very gestaltish.
Yeah. I know there's another one that's the opposite. The sum of the parts are greater than the whole, but I can't remember who that is.
I want to say the last name starts with an M.
I don't know.
But we'll go with Gestalt on
But
this
anyway,
one.
I think that the flavors in this beer come together and actually give it its overall balance.
Yeah, because I was a little concerned with, because I do know that, again, fig is almost a darker, richer, deeper flavor. Same thing with the vanilla. Pomegranate, you're getting pomegranate. And I was a little concerned about that mix because it's not, like you said, it's not a sour. So I wasn't sure how everything was going to kind of balance out, but it is done very, very well.
I feel like the fig and the grapes together really bring that like winey, almost like super malty, super rich overtone. But then the pomegranate comes in like on the side and is like, hey, I'm here.
I'm a fan.
I like it.
Yeah. I didn't know that these guys were from Cult Snack.
Oh, we got to go.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's what it was. We haven't had Source, but we've
spoken about them
going
before.
Source.
Yes.
Yeah, they're so close.
This
and
is
honestly, it's
really,
a really cool place, dude.
Yeah, and this is really, really well made.
Yeah,
really well made.
I never really had them until almost 2 years ago.
Well, and you know the use of milk sugar, which you've really kind of like turned me on to since you started doing this. There are times when it can be too much.
Definitely.
This is not one of those times.
I agree.
I think it's really smart, very well balanced. 4.35.
Ooh, wow.
It is an extraordinarily good beer for me. I could have a couple of them. Not, maybe not a full. I could have like 2, 3 of these guys.
If you have any more than 2 or 3 of these, you're going to be in a bad
true.
way.
Yeah, make sure that you go ahead and line your stomach first.
For sure.
I like it though. I like it a lot.
Okay, before I give my grade, let's do a party foul.
I don't know what is with me today.
Oh, somebody cue the
Sorry.
music. We both effed up
How so?
last episode.
Oh, now we're talking about the party fouls.
We
Okay.
talked about-
I was
yeah.
going to say, what did we just do now? I'm sitting right here. I don't even have my hands on anything.
The party foul. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Ah.
The party foul. Nick nor I knew how to spell desist.
Correct. We did not.
And I consider us very good at spelling.
We are.
That sounds very rudimentary, but it wasn't.
I don't know how I always am at spelling, but
At least
I can
grammar.
use the word.
That's true.
Although, when I walked in and we were talking about this, I was like, I don't even know if I know what the word desist means.
That surprises me.
And, because until you said what phrase?
Cease and desist.
Because I feel like I've never heard the word desist
Yeah,
unaccompanied by cease.
you're right. And you know what's weird is that they both mean the same thing. It's just really redundant.
Well, cease I know definitely means stop.
Yeah,
Desist
yeah.
it simply
I
means
looked
stop
it
as
up.
well?
Yeah, I
Stop
looked
and
it up because
stop?
I had to know.
Let me tell you, we got to go back. If you guys haven't, English is hard.
Dude.
What is the point?
All right, yeah. Before I tell you this, go watch English is Hard or listen to English is Hard.
Episode 4, I believe.
The word cease is in the definition of desist.
Get the fuck out of here.
Not kidding.
Really?
It says cease, abstain.
That is some
Why does English suck?
weak
You're right.
definition.
You're right.
Defining. Ugh, I don't
I
like
say it all
at
the time. They're all made up.
They are all made up. I feel like I had another party foul, but I think when I was listening back to the previous episode, I was so hung up on this one that I negated to remember or write down what the other one was, nor look up this particular party foul also. I think I just became so frustrated with myself.
I was really upset with me. And Christina was like, it's right. Like, what's wrong with you? She knew.
Everybody's allowed to have their days.
You're right. Hector, you got any party fouls?
Oh, Hector fell too.
Oh, he has a party foul.
Hector, yeah. Yeah, he had a party foul. Poor little guy fell right off.
Did he fall today?
Yesterday. Yes, yesterday was Wednesday. Yes.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Luckily it was only his leaf. Nothing physical.
That's good.
Happened to the face, nothing to the moneymaker. Margaret Thatcher's okay over there too. Everybody's all right. And if you're thinking we've been huffing glue, yet again, go back and check out some of the past episodes.
Definitely not. We do not condone that.
No.
Speaking of money.
Yeah.
Did you find anything interesting? Like, you don't have to go into a whole thing, but did you find anything that you really wanted to bring up today?
I did. I'd like to start.
I didn't give my rating yet, but please continue.
Oh,
when you're done, I will.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you know me, I've got to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit with some of our topics when it comes to research, and we are now in February, and it is Black History Month.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
What do you think I was going to say?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to make reference to Punxsutawney.
Okay.
Now, and you know that I'm all about that Staten Island Steve life.
For sure.
So I actually did some research into places with the name Money.
Oh, nice.
In it. And you're probably saying, why did you go ahead and preface by mentioning that it's Black History Month? We'll get there. So there is a place in Mississippi that's called Money, Mississippi. And Money, Mississippi is an infamous town. So not a famous town, but an infamous town.
Why is that?
That is the town that is known for the lynching of 14-year-old Emmett Tills. Are you familiar with Emmett Tills?
No, not familiar.
Okay. So in 1955, while visiting his uncle, Tills was visiting from Chicago. Tills was accused of flirting with a white woman at a local grocery store. Okay, because that would
55, yes.
Yes, 1955, and flirting was a crime if you were black. The owner of the grocery store and his brothers became enraged at this. They found Tills, abducted him, tortured him, and then murdered him. The two of them were arrested and subsequently acquitted by an all-white jury, despite later admitting to the killing in an interview for Look magazine in 1956. So
1 year later.
1 year later. So the reason why I bring this up as well is because this was a particularly famous point, really in modern American history. So what happened was that when Till's body was returned, back to his mother in Chicago, and they had a funeral, his mother, Mamie Till Bradley, had requested for an open casket and specifically had said, I want this to be an open casket to let people see what they had done to her son. And in many ways, that is what galvanized the civil rights movement, because the photo of this young man murdered in his coffin was published and plastered everywhere. In 2007, the woman who had accused Tills admitted that she had fabricated the details in her testimony.
Oh, man. And what happened to this lady?
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's the whole thing. If I'm not again, I wanted to also mention this because A, I found it interesting, and B, I figured start with maybe something just a little bit heavier. and then we can, get lighter as time goes by.
Sure.
But if you or anybody ever gets a chance to go to the African American Museum in DC, just opened up a couple years ago. I went about 2 or 3 years, I want to say I went. Beautiful museum, but they have a place. They have a room, if you will, that is dedicated to this. And you essentially, and they set it up as if you are going into a viewing.
Way.
And when I tell you that I wept I'm welling up now.
Yeah.
I wept like a child, like a
That's
baby.
powerful,
It was
man.
such a
powerful.
beautiful homage and at the same time such a sad story.
Wow.
So that again, Money, Mississippi. So
I did not know we were going there, but you know what?
I'll pass you the baton.
It's okay. I'm taking it. You said that we're starting a little heavy,
Oh, excuse me.
and we did today with the beer.
Yes, we did. Yes.
So I'm gonna bring it full circle. Originally I was gonna say 4.15, but actually after it warmed up a little bit, I think I'm gonna go like 4.25.
Okay.
So you and I are right there.
Yeah, right there. 4.3, if anything, as a middle point.
There's maybe like a whisper of the 11% in here.
It's funny you mentioned that because when you said that you had smelt the alcohol, I don't think I really did,
No.
and I definitely don't taste it.
Yeah, it's hidden behind the wine flavor.
Oh yeah, well, and God
It
knows,
really is.
I'm 30% wine as it is, so I figured that tracks.
He's more wine than man.
I'll live forever.
This guy. Yeah, you will.
I just clinked my teeth.
No,
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Welcome to the party because I did that before. So you guys know me. Like I like to do the history, and I probably don't say this enough, but I really believe this. Like you really got to know where you came from to know where you're going.
Absolutely.
And I really do believe that. So I was curious about the origin of paper money.
Oh, paper money in particular.
Yeah, because I knew that was more recent.
Oh yeah.
So what I found was before paper money, common things that used to be bartered or traded with were tea, rice, salt, seeds, tobacco, and livestock.
Bring it all back. As far as I'm concerned, those sounds like some of the most important things I still need today.
I'm into the bartering system.
Yeah.
Metal objects represented money as early as 5000 BC.
Wow.
And I got that on Investopedia.com.
Ooh, look at you with citing your sources.
Come on. So we got to change sometimes.
So out of curiosity,
Yeah.
Was there a specific civilization they had accredited that to? Was like the Byzantines or the Assyrians?
So I didn't see that, but I did see that the Lydians started using coins in 7th century BC.
Wow, that's still
So long ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's cool to kind of see how metal, even back then, was still prized. You know, like we put an overemphasis on it now, like gold and silver, but like it was still the same way. You know,
Yeah.
like you would trade your someone metal for something.
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I never thought
Eventually,
about
we got to paper money, and it was I went to the U.S.
that. Okay.
because that's where we're from there, and I figured that's where we would start.
What are you talking about, mate?
So, this is a bit of coincidence. On February 3rd, 1690.
Today's February 3rd.
So exactly 332 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
I think that's actually right.
1620, you said?
1690.
Oh, 1690. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that. Well done.
Good job, Alex. On that date, the first paper money was used in the U.S. And it was issued by the Massachusetts Bay Colony.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This same colony was the first to mint its own silver coins in 1652.
Wow.
And what it really did was help fund the military against Canada's King William's War.
Yeah.
Canada King William's War.
Huh.
Yep. So sometimes money where it was more of an IOU.
Oh, almost like an early sort of like bond, like you were buying like
Kind
a
of.
Liberty bond type deal.
Exactly. People would either represented a credit or an IOU.
Interesting.
And soldiers I didn't know this, soldiers could spend or trade IOU like silver and gold. So these little bills of paper that are just IOUs to the soldiers,
Yeah.
they could use them as silver and gold.
Well, wasn't that the case up until So I believe that like up until like World War II is when they had started to go ahead and like kind of reel things in when it came to gold and silver. And then technically in the US, I mean, we were on the gold standard until 71, I want to say.
I actually, you know what's funny is I originally planned to do exactly what you just said and go into it and find out when, and then I got sidetracked by the stuff I'll tell you later.
If I'm not mistaken, it was 71. I know at the very minimum that it was during Nixon's administration, Richard Nixon's administration, that they had done away with the gold standard. And apparently, and this I don't think I learned until much, much later, it was only supposed to be temporary. It wasn't supposed to, because that's when we started to see,
I think you're right.
you know, really high inflation in the early to mid 70s.
I think you're right. And,
Yeah.
and this is why. So after the revolution in 1775, they actually tried to repeat this original printing of money.
Mm-hmm.
But how they did it didn't go over so well. Do you know what a continental is?
It's a breakfast usually that comes at a majority of chain hotels.
It is. No, a continental was the name for this new note that was issued instead of money. But what happened is that you couldn't readily exchange them for gold or silver, and Congress made it hard for people to use them. They enacted these rules for future redemption of these tickets, let's call them, these continentals. So each state was assigned a quota of how many they could return to Congress to actually get the money for.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then inflation happened, like you said.
Yeah.
And this actually caused the overprinting of the continentals. And since they weren't backed by anything, they very, very quickly fell off, and they actually stopped being issued in 1779.
That quickly?
Yes, super fast. So only over the course of 4 years.
Wow. I also know that if I'm not mistaken, it was so easy to print forgeries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, if I'm, yeah.
That kind of makes sense, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Paul Revere, if I'm not mistaken, used to print money for a period.
That is a name I have not heard in a long time.
Oh, well, listen, my child, and you shall hear. Yeah, I don't know why I know. Thank you.
He'll be here all night.
I'll be here all night. I don't know why I seem to know so much offhand, unnecessary.
That's a fantastic question.
Unnecessary information.
Yeah, we know what Nick does in his normal time.
I already thought about the fact is like what I'm gonna go and do when I go home post grilled cheese, and I've got some. In my home we refer to it as sleuthing, which is when I find something that I want to research and I have to wait till Nick goes to sleep, and by that I mean I have to wait till Nick falls asleep, and then I secretly just chain smoke cigarettes and dive into like old newspaper articles. Oh, dude, come on. I told you my favorite one that I figured out so far, mild sidebar.
No, I don't. Maybe not.
So, you know, I live in a historic building.
Yeah. Very nice.
And thank you. It's my home.
It's old.
So there was a story that had come out years ago, early 2000s, making this claim that this one particular like famous silent actor had lived in the building. Someone by the name of, her name was Myrna Loin. And they got to a point where like they host like movie nights for the Myrna Loin. And I was like, I don't think that she ever actually like lived here. I went through all of the census data.
Oh my God.
From the late 20s and early 30s. There is no record of this woman ever having lived in the building. So now whenever I hear people on like tours of like, here's the bathroom and here's the grand vestibule, or, you know, Myrna Loin used to go, no, she didn't. Don't let him sell you this pack of lies.
That is phenomenal.
I don't get invited to many Christmas parties.
You are something else, sir.
Oh, I try. You know what I want? Money.
We all do.
So the song, Money, that's what I want. You know,
great song.
Great song. So I decided to look into a little bit of this. Yep, that's what I want.
Yep.
It's formally called Money, brackets. That's what I want. It was written by Berry Gordy and Janie Bradford for Tamiya Records. Do any of those names ring a bell to you?
No.
Okay. So Tamiya Records was owned by Gordy and Bradford. And of course, it then became Motown. Berry Gordy is the founder of Motown.
Oh, interesting.
So the song was first recorded and released in 1959 by Barrett Strong. And in fact, it became the first hit record for Motown. I did not know about that at all.
I had no idea.
I had no idea. Like, it was such a spontaneous,
I'm not a huge Motown guy.
Oh.
I gotta say.
Oh, I love Motown.
I gotta really be in the mood.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's usually Mike in the shower. I like to throw in a little Motown.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I
I
was
like to
about to
play-
sing, but I figured I'll save it for when you're least expecting it.
I like to play Jack Johnson in the shower.
That? What?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep reading about
Yeah,
Barry
you probably
Gordy.
should. We're not going to dive into that.
So the song itself, and I think you would appreciate this from a musician's standpoint.
Sure.
So the song came about during a continuous improv record session. They were just
I love that.
right? So the guitarist and the bassist for the song, they were originally unknown. So a quote from one of the musicians that was working made the claim that, quote, two white kids walking home from high school who heard the music out on the street and wandered into Hitsville. Hitsville is the name of the record studio, and asked if they could play along. And allegedly, that's how the guitarist and the bassist on the original recording of Money came about. Later on, the guitarist was identified as someone by the name of Eugene Grew, but no mention of who the bassist was, no mention of anything else. Yeah. Later on, there were a number of covers. The Beatles, of course, covered the song. It was the last track on With the Beatles.
I think that's the one that I think of the most when I hear that song.
Oh, you see, and I think of the one by the Flying Lizards.
Maybe it is that one. I don't know.
The Flying Lizards is the one where it's a woman's voice, woman's lead singer, and she just says it very stunted. The best things in life are free.
I have heard that.
That's that was their unexpected hit and the only one that the band would have.
The Lizards.
The Flying Lizards.
That is not a better name.
No.
Nope.
Oh.
Speaking of terrible names. Okay.
A lot of interesting transitions we're making today.
Yeah, we're on fire. I know you're not a sports guy, but like, do you know the whole backlash 2 years ago, the Washington Redskins? How they had to take away the name Redskins.
I find that to be
I know,
so closed-minded.
I know
of
it's
you.
so bad. I know.
I
Not
am-
of me.
I am-
Yeah.
I am
I don't
familiar.
care what you
excuse
call
me.
yourself. So they've been the Washington football team for the last 2 years.
Yes.
That's been their club name.
We'll fix
I think
it
it was.
in post.
Say again. We'll fix it in post. This morning, they
yes.
actually finally announced their new name.
I saw.
Oh, you did see.
I did.
And the thoughts?
I like it.
You do?
The Commanders?
Yeah.
What would you rather it be?
Quite literally anything else. Okay,
At
here are
first,
the
I
thoughts
almost flubbed and said the Commodores, and then thought that would be an even better name.
that actually is a better name.
Ladies and gentlemen, now presenting the 2023 Washington Commodores.
Or how about just condors? Isn't that a bird?
No, condors. I think
It's
are
not a bird?
they don't exist. I don't believe.
Oh,
I think
that's
they're
a
either
fictional bird?
they're extinct or they're fictional. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Regardless, the
Anywho.
Commanders. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a terrible name. I said the first things that came to mind were, and Christina was like, "Isn't there already a name for that sports team?" And I said, "It doesn't matter. There's the Cardinals in baseball and the Cardinals in football."
Oh yeah.
I said the Galaxy, Washington
Oh.
Galaxy,
That wouldn't be bad.
and then I said Dragons, but Christina was like, "I don't think they would do that."
I always think of my favorite fake sports team,
Which is
the Bazooka Sharks. Do you watch
From what?
from American Dad?
yeah.
Indoor arena football in Langley Falls, and the name of the team, they're the Langley Falls Bazooka Sharks.
I have never seen this one, and I'm gonna find it.
Oh, there are so many episodes with them too. They're just
I've never seen
dude,
this.
they're just giant jacked up sharks with bazookas. It's
Okay.
it is the funniest thing.
Say no more. You sold me.
You know what? I want to throw it out there. We'll put up a poll on Instagram if anything. What do you think the name should have
Oh
been?
man, please anything else than the Commanders.
What would you have? You said Dragons?
I really like Galaxy.
Okay.
Or like, how about the Washington Blues?
I can't. Oh, I hate my brain so much. Because it's Washington State, right?
No, it's DC.
Okay, so like the first thing that came to mind, I was like, why didn't they just call themselves the Potomacs? And then I realized that that's also another Native American name and probably shouldn't be appropriated either. I don't know.
Why didn't they do from, a la Keanu Reeves and the Replacements, why didn't they do the Washington Senators?
That was a name too in the past.
The Senators?
I believe so. Previously, there was a team named the Senators.
Name. It might have been
Regardless, I think that's
a great name.
A great name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody put me on the terrible Washington Commanders PR team.
Ugh. Yeah, they got enough. They got to deal with, I'm sure.
Oof.
They got to sell the name Commanders.
In their front office. That would be a disaster. All right. Anyway, let's get back into money.
Yeah, what do you got?
So actually, I tied in one of our previous episodes. I wanted to talk about after Hamilton proposed the bank.
Oh.
What happened with money? So literally the next year after Hamilton proposed the bank, the U.S. dollar was adopted.
So again, and now I don't know if you have the dates down, but I want to see if I can recall back in my brain.
Okay, I'd be really impressed.
1881 was when the bank was first established. So that would make it
right.
18. Oh, I'm sorry, not 18, 17. 1781 was when the bank was first established. So that would imply that 1782 is when the dollar came about.
Oh, you were so close. Founded in 1782. So 1783. That was really good, though.
Damn it.
I am incredibly impressed.
Well, because I got it wrong the first time also.
Yeah, well, that was my bit, and I still don't even know. So
all right.
Fair enough. Quickly following the adoption of the dollar, the invention of the U.S. Mint, the Federal Monetary System, and the U.S. Coinage Act of 1792.
Oh.
Literally all within 10 years.
Interesting.
And then, believe it or not, I didn't know this. Although the country initially adopted the dollar to circulate, it only circulated as coins until 1861.
It was that long?
Yep. Didn't return to paper currency until 1861.
It's funny you say that because as we were having some of the conversations earlier about paper money in general, I was thinking about how much I abhor the dollar bill.
Yeah, it sucks.
And how so many other countries, it's a $1 or a $2 piece, and it's a one and done.
So, you're talking about specifically the U.S. $1 bill.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because I just find them to be cumbersome to hold.
They're like pennies.
And pennies cost more money to make than they're actually worth.
Why are we still making pennies?
Listen.
This is why America's failing.
America, wake. I'm glad that we both went to
This is why America's failing. How long we've been making fucking pennies for?
Fucking God. I don't understand. And every time I go into a CVS, it says there's a national coinage shortage.
Yeah, I wonder why. You're using all the copper to make pennies. Reel it in, Nick. Reel it in.
Okay. You're with me on this.
Oh, man.
I was just going to say, I will, because if I don't, that means I'm going to take you off your leash, too.
You know what, guys? We figured out that it actually is not cost efficient to print pennies.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, we should probably still do it anyway.
Yeah, we should do, because that's what we all know. And if I don't see things tomorrow like they are today, what kind of anarchy would we live in?
Yeah, in America. I think
Thank you very much, folks, for joining us for our newest segment called Dripping Condescension with Alex and Nick.
Like, actually.
Oh, my.
I'm so wet. Sopping.
Dripping, sopping wet.
I took a turn, and this is actually the last bit of research that I did.
Okay.
That's not true. There's one more. But I took a turn, and I wanted to, which is what I think you were going to go with before. I thought you were going to go with. I went in and found all of the comparisons of the U.S. dollar versus everything else.
Oh, are you talking about like
It's actually everything compared to the euro.
Are you talking value-wise or
value-wise?
I was just doing this earlier today.
Perfect.
This works out very well.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
So the U.S. dollar compared to the euro, 1 euro is 1.1138.
Oh, okay.
U.S. dollars.
That must have changed from when I was searching earlier today. Because it happens like it's a minute to minute, second to second.
Okay.
Yeah, like it changes in real time.
Then I'm wrong because
no. It depends also like on the outlet sometimes.
Oh, really?
So like you're talking about
I had no idea.
splitting hairs. So as long as this is Is this from today?
No.
Okay, so that actually might explain it then.
Yeah, then maybe it is
today.
messed
I
up.
believe it was 114.
Oh wow, really? So we suck less today than we did only like a week ago.
Ever so slightly.
Just a little bit. Just by
Ever so
only like
slightly.
300ths of a place.
Yeah.
That's
it's
not too bad.
Not terrible,
No.
I guess.
But 300ths of a place over week after week after week.
Wait, no, it's the other way around. We got a little bit weaker because
Yeah, that's what I meant. We suck.
we
suck more.
actually suck more this week.
Yeah, isn't that what I said? I said we suck less.
I think you said we suck
Yeah,
less.
we suck more.
We suck more. Okay.
Okay, so anyway,
Anywho.
things that I found really interesting, like I wanted to go and find the biggest disparities in actual numbers. So like, for instance,
Oh.
the Hungarian forint,
Okay.
€1 is equal to $358.42 of Hungarian forint.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh wait, it gets crazy.
Can I guess at what the biggest one is?
Yeah, for sure. I think you might be able to guess it really easily. Actually,
Is it the Venezuelan bolivar?
it's actually not.
Okay. All right. Then I don't want to ruin it.
Well, it on this day anyway.
Okay.
I have it as the rupee. It's called the rupiah.
Oh.
Or is it still Is it pronounced rupee?
This is the currency of India?
Indonesian rupiah. So maybe it's
it might
pronounced
be
rupiah.
It might be rupiah then. Yeah.
Either way, in Indonesia, €1
Yeah.
is equal to 16,047.76 rupiah.
Oh my goodness. It's interesting for us, I think in our society and whatnot, because we do think of that as like, oh my goodness, that's so much. And it very well might be, but that could also imply that like if I go to the market that something costs 20,000 rupiah, it really means that it's, €1.25 or €1.10.
Exactly.
But still, like that's
It's the disparity sounds much bigger than it actually is.
like that's I know for years, like before Italy obviously transferred over to the euro, like lira was one of those things where like, something would be 90 lira, but it would be, $2 American or
Right.
whatever
But
whatever
it's still strange though, because like if you think about it, like how much Indonesian rupiah
yeah.
equals $1. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Like 1 rupiah is less than a fraction of a cent.
And we're the standard. Like the US dollar is the base. So it was the British pound
Yes.
up until
Yes.
the end of the Second World War.
I forgot they got rid of the pound.
No. They still have the pound.
Oh, but the
what I'm
pound.
saying,
Oh,
like,
so
the
pound-
standard.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the standard for I guess like equivalencies and whatnot had been for years based off the sterling pound
Oh, interesting.
up until the end of the war, because they obviously had to rebuild, whereas we didn't.
Oh.
So like we're only really in this like super power position because of the fact that we adopted, or the world kind of adopted, the US dollar then as the standard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it stemmed from that.
Yeah. That's what I had seen. So
Cool.
I'm going to run with it.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, tune in next week for when I have to go ahead and see how many of my feet I can put in my mouth.
For when we party foul. Actually,
Yeah.
you know what? Funny you say that. I just scrolled over the sterling pound.
Oh.
And it's 0.83. Sterling pounds is equal to €1. So it's still the superior currency.
Yes, and that's the thing that always fascinated me. Whenever I looked at, like, if you were to even see like the pound to the dollar, like
They're
the
superior.
pound is still stronger. So I
Right.
keep thinking to myself, how, why, why does that happen if we're the standard?
That's actually the only one on the list that is lower than every other number. It's not a whole number.
Really?
Yeah. Every other number is greater than 1.
I'm smelling a conspiracy.
I'm sniffing that out from a mile away.
That's wild, though.
It's so strange, man. Like, why can't we all just unite, use the same currency, use the same measurements? Like, why does everyone hate each other? Why do we have to put up signs in a workplace to ask people to not be rude to the staff? Like, it all stems from the same thing.
The currency thing does sound like something that would, be challenging to get across after a while. But I'm not.
No, I know you're not discrediting.
Yeah, no, because and then we'll get back into money, I swear. But the measurement thing for me is infuriating.
It's so silly.
At the fact that we insist on using something falsely named the standard system.
I know.
I don't know.
That
Who
is
it
the
standard
biggest
for?
Yeah, that is the biggest fallacy.
If I'm not mistaken, it's only us, and I want to say
2 other countries, 1 other country.
there's, I believe, there's an African country that uses it, and I can't even remember the other one, but everybody else uses the metric system. Should we work in series of 5s and 10s? No.
That's way too hard.
No.
Let's split those up into 5 more pieces, and then we'll work it out.
How much is a yard? 3.147 feet. What?
Terrible.
Why?
Why isn't it just 1?
Why isn't it just 1?
So only 3 countries: the United States, Liberia,
That's the one.
and Myanmar.
And Myanmar.
It'll always be Burma to me.
It'll always be Burma to me. Liberia, if I'm not mistaken, is the only country that has a capital that is named after an American president.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
I want to say Taylor or Tyler, perhaps?
I'm going to find out right now.
Okay.
Monrovia?
Monrovia, after James Monroe.
Oh, it's actually. Oh,
It's actually named after him because-
after this gentleman.
Right.
I
So
got you.
once,
Oh, sick.
yeah, because once, slavery was abolished, this was apparently supposed to be an area that was kind of like put aside.
Yeah, founded
for
during the
freed-
administration of James Monroe.
Yep.
That is too cool.
Look at that.
We don't suck
We do
so much.
Wow. So I decided to go ahead and also look into one of my favorite things of all time, because everything seems to always be able to come back to James Bond.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
And of course, there was the secretary at the MI6 offices, Moneypenny.
Nice.
Thank you.
What a terrible name for a character.
Moneypenny? I know, right? So she was actually the secretary to M at MI6, and the whole character was built around this idea that they had like really deep kind of underlying sexual romantic like tension between like she and Bond. You know, they would always kind of like take little quips at one another in the office. Now, that's not the original character. The original character was not written that way in the book. It was done that way for the movies. And this is often, like I said, depicted when Bond, first arrives to the office with such quips as, flattery won't get you anywhere, but don't stop trying.
I know that one.
Of course.
That might be the only one I know.
So the most famous Moneypenny, if anything, was from a performer. Her name was Lois Maxwell, and she was in the role from 1962, so the original James Bond and Dr. No, all the way up through 1985 in A View to Kill. So she had actually petitioned to get the role originally, or just a job with the first production, because her husband had just had a heart attack. So like she needed to go ahead and like make some money for the family. So she had initially turned, So initially she was turned down by the director of the first film, Terrence Young, who thought she looked, quote, looked like she smelled of soap. And I said, is this a bad thing?
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know. Maybe soap was made from something different in the early 60s, but evidently that was a bad thing. So he eventually wound up, gave her a choice between 2 roles. She could either be Moneypenny, or in this first film, she could play Bond's girlfriend and essentially kind of be one of the first, if not the first,
right,
Bond girl. She chose the former as Moneypenny, and she was paid £100 per day, which is not a lot.
That's not?
No, £100 per day, even in 1962, for each day of production. So if she was on the set, yeah.
That's true. Only when she's there.
And she had to supply her own clothes. They didn't give her a wardrobe. So the role after that, the role was nearly recast when she asked for a pay raise just prior to Diamonds Are Forever, but the crew thought that a regular character should actually be added in. And that's how she kind of like gained her foothold. So they built a couple more like storylines as time went by. And then in her final role, so for years, her wish, like the performer's wish, Maxwell's wish, had always been that Moneypenny would eventually be promoted into the job of M. And it was always rejected, always rejected, always rejected. So then in the final role, which was in A View to Kill, she had asked for the character to be killed off because nobody from even like any of the original movies was then going to be left after this. So she had asked for the role to be killed off. And instead they rejected it and they simply recast it then when Timothy Dalton had become the new Bond following after Roger Moore.
Bastards.
Right?
Yeah, it's a good story though.
I love it. I love it.
I knew over the years that you really do love James Bond, but not until we started doing the podcast. Now I understand that you actually love.
Well, because you know my unhealthy obsession to begin with, like all things like Soviet and Russian also. Like I
Definitely.
just love that whole trope of like evil Russian overlord trying to take over.
Throw a little espionage on top of that and we're hooked. Yep, eat it up.
Come back for seconds.
All right, so I'm going to get into my last thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to shine a little bit of light on some of the biggest purchases of all time.
Oh.
And a lot of these are acquisitions, like of one company
okay.
taking over another. That's really all I could find. Although I will add this, because I did see, I saw like a short of it. Apparently, Shaquille O'Neal once spent $80,000 at Walmart at 3 a.m.
Oh.
I'm going to tell this story because it's actually a pretty decent story.
That's taken some like drunk online shopping to a new level.
You would think, right? You would
Yeah.
think. So apparently when he got traded from the Lakers to the Heat, they told him like at an inopportune time, like it happened in not a good time of day, probably because LA's 3 hours behind.
Yeah.
So he rushed to Walmart because they told him like, hey, we have an apartment for you in Miami, but there's nothing in it. So he was like, I'm kind of an impatient guy. So like, I went to Walmart and I start buying giant flat screen TVs. I got computers. I got towels, underwear, shirt. He literally furnished an entire apartment at Walmart. And then he gets up to the register and it's $80,000 to finally check out.
Oh my God.
And this is my favorite part. He goes, so I swipe my card. It says decline. He goes, what? Swipe it again. Decline. I said, I know I ain't broke, and you know Shaq's not broke. So apparently, luckily the people who own the credit card company called him and they were like, Shaq, somebody tried to spend $80,000 on you.
Shut
He was
up.
like, it was me.
That's hilarious.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because who spends $80,000 at a
right?
Walmart?
He's a treasure for real.
Oh man, and you see, because I thought it was going to be like a charity thing, and I was like, great, I sounded like an asshole in the beginning. And it was going to be good.
He's a funny guy, man.
Yes, he is.
So anyway, like these were all acquisitions that I had found. But what was really interesting when I looked at this list is that not until you hit 1969 was anything bought for over $1 billion. Well, it was actually $1.8 billion.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But then in the 80s, things exploded.
Yeah.
So $31 billion was the highest acquisition in the 80s. It happened in 1989. And then 10 years later in 1999, the largest purchase in history, Vodafone.
Oh, Vodafone.
Vodafone?
Yeah.
Okay. Vodafone AirTouch PLC, which is I didn't know was a British telecommunications company.
Yes.
Bought Mannesmann. That's a German industrial conglomerate. The same year, though, for less money, much less money, only $70 billion.
Only.
Right? Verizon bought Vodafone.
Oh, that is tricky as hell.
Right. And it's weird because they happened at different times.
Which
Verizon bought Vodafone.
And then Vodafone went and bought the other? Why?
Verizon must have wanted it.
I didn't I don't think I knew that at all.
That's a bizarre one.
That is a weird
There were
one.
actually a lot of those when I looked through this list. I have 2 more quick ones.
So do you know why, if anything, out of curiosity, like why they came about in the 80s more than anything else? And then
No.
like,
I was surprised when you said that. Like you knew.
so it was because of the fact is that to avoid like monopolization
Oh, I thought you
in
were gonna say
business,
that. Okay.
all these regulations were put in place, and then in the 80s they were all done away with.
But didn't we bring it back recently? Like 20 years ago?
It's all for show. There's no checks and balance on.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So anyway, in 2015, yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Heinz purchased Kraft
Oh,
for $100 billion,
wow.
which I had no idea.
My
And
God.
also in 2000, AOL purchased Time Warner
Oh, yes.
for $182 billion. So I didn't realize that. Does that mean that AOL owns Disney? Because doesn't Disney own Time Warner? Or
It
am I
may
wrong?
have. I mean, it may have shifted at this point because there are
Yeah,
so
since
many
2000.
of those. AOL Time. Yeah, because I don't think it's called AOL Time Warner anymore.
You're probably right.
I don't know
You're probably
off the
right.
top of my head, but yeah, and if you notice, everything that you talked about too is all
Huge
media and
companies.
media and
cars
telecommunication.
industrial
Yep.
German
Yep.
building. And,
Yep.
Yeah, look at this. What happened to AOL Time Warner in 2018?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, this is some of the. This is usually the lesson that I will announce in my class, and eyes glaze over until I start to discuss dollar amounts, and they're like, "Wait a second, I'm sorry. How much money?
Yeah.
How much money? Yeah."
Once you start getting into that like 15 billion, 17 billion range, I mean, even before that, like, who am I kidding?
And my favorite part about all of it, how much money they all pay in taxes.
Nothing compared to us.
Zero. No, they in certain cases they don't pay
Zero.
anything. Like
No.
Verizon. You hear that? Fuck
Wait,
you,
Verizon
Verizon.
doesn't
We
pay
all
taxes.
No, they don't pay any U.S. taxes.
How do they get away with that?
Because of the fact is that they have contracts the majority of the time through government agencies, and as a result, then they receive subsidies. So the amount of subsidies that they get is often more than anything they would actually have
We
to
should
pay.
look into Verizon.
We should look into all of these
That's
companies.
true. It's going to take way too much
Anything
time.
that's too big to fail can fail if you hit it hard enough.
We're going to have to switch careers and quit this podcast and start like a new one.
This beer was lovely, but it made us very angry this evening
actually,
for some
you're
reason.
totally right. We got very cynical. I looked into the description of this beer on Untapped.
Oh, please, yeah.
While we were talking before, and one of the things that they put in the notes that they get when they taste the beer, I really resonated with, and it's grape jam. I feel like I got a ton of grape jam
Yeah.
when we drank this beer.
Yeah. And that's and again,
That makes sense 'cause
that's
grapes.
the Cabernet
Exactly.
grapes in there.
The
Yeah.
rest, just for show, the rest were crushed pomegranate, berry and granola parfait, which I think
Yeah,
I
I
got
get
a little
that
bit
one
of
quite a
because it
bit.
was kind of that like creaminess.
Well, and
from
it's
the
also
vanilla.
because of the vanilla.
Vanilla,
Yeah.
exactly. And candied figs, vanilla icing, and sweet fruit cup juice
I think this might be one of the highest that we have rated.
that we both rated.
to
Yeah,
date.
so high.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that I can think that was higher is Get Pitted.
True.
And I don't even
Yeah.
know if you rated it as high because I was super high on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I did either. I think this might still be one of my highest though.
This is really good.
4.3.
I'm really happy that I finally got this after not being able to pick it up on New Year's because of COVID, and then actually having to wait like 4 weeks to get it.
And again, it came the same week as the Lunar New Year, so this worked out.
Actually, I have to say, Rob picked this
Beautifully.
up for me, so thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
I was gonna lick my lips for some reason, and I don't know why.
I'm really glad you didn't.
I'm glad I didn't either.
Do you have any other interesting little tidbits?
I
me?
think I've
Can you rouse up any more?
exhausted the. I think I've exhausted the people.
I've exhausted myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only other thing I can mention real quick that I think is funny is that there is a stream in Minnesota called Money Creek, and it got that name after someone walked by, some of their money blew into the creek, and it was never returned.
Damn. What a way to get a name.
What a way to get a name! I like that. Yeah, I can wrap there. I think that
Okay.
feels good. Oh, and my sources, if anything,
It's like a terrible story to wrap on.
was it? I think it's kind of funny.
It is. I'm laughing.
I just think about it. I'm thinking of like creek conversation, like, "Hey, how'd you get your name?" Some schmuck lost a 20 in me about 250 years ago. Oh, that guy.
I would watch that show.
I would like that. Creek Chat.
No, I feel like it would have to be up Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
Stay tuned for our next episode of Up Schitt's Creek.
I'll take that out in post. We don't want people getting their hands on that.
On what? Goodbye.
This guy.
What was that crack, 12-year-old Alex?
Oh, man.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Like I said, I think we'll throw up a quick survey,
Yeah,
if anything,
definitely.
on Instagram.
If you guys can think of anything better to name the Washington football team than the Commanders, please tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we want to know.
My God. I want it to even, again, be like Commodores at this point.
I'm not even mad at that.
No, I'm not either, because if that one, to
word.
me, that's funny.
It's the same word.
Commander. A commander's a dick, but a Commodore.
How about Concords?
Oh, yeah, but I would pronounce it the English way. A Concord.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Check those out on Instagram.com.
At Beers and Podcast.
At Beers and Podcast.
And on Twitter at
Beers and One.
And on Gmail at beersandpodcast@gmail.com. I thought you were going to do it with me.
I thought I was too.
Sorry, Hector.
You know what? I sat here. I watched you do it. I saw you step up to the plate.
Gesture you.
And you... What we just did was we just held hands at the edge of the cliff and said, we're both going to seriously do it on 3, right? And you jumped, and I regretfully stood behind. You said you were going to jump.
You said you would jump. Okay, but anyway, we're really going to go.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.